Welcome everyone, StealthyShiroean here, and today I'm bringing you my review of the Gunk. Image and Form developed the Gunk with Thunderful Publishing acting as the publisher and releasing it in December of 2021. For any of my Humble Choice viewers, you would have received this game in the December 2023 bundle. The Gunk is a short puzzle platformer tasking players with literally cleaning up an alien world from a black blob. While the gameplay comes off as simplistic, the game's story does enough to intrigue the player enough to continue playing until the end. One of the core features of the game is clearing away all the drab and dark gunk to reveal the vibrant nature all around. I really love the environmental design with their heavily saturated colors and their picturesque and colorful scenes. The Gunk also serves as a nice contrast with its largely black and red color palette. It made clearing away this vile goo very satisfying when everything comes to life. Outside of the environments, I can't say I cared for the character models that much. I thought Ronnie and Bex were fine, but their animations felt off, especially in cutscenes. And the enemies were really uninspired to me. Personally, I like the look of the one alien deer they made and would have loved to have seen more fauna, but I get that this was a design choice probably to reduce scope. Also, their use of rough concept art in the end really threw me off. I'm assuming they didn't have the budget for cinematics, or I guess fully detailed art, for something that was going to be used only once. But it fell out of place with everything else in the game since the devs never used still art pieces up until the end. I did enjoy the soundtrack though and liked how well it complemented the tone they set for the game. It created a calming feeling, even despite the black gunk, which really conveyed the type of game that it is. A chill experience. The story begins with the main characters, two space cargo haulers, Ronnie and Bex, finding a mysterious and seemingly uninhabited planet. Upon further inspection, Ronnie, who the player controls, comes across the Gunk, an amorphous black gob of goo. Luckily, Ronnie has a tool to clean it up, and when she does, nature bursts forth. Bex realizes there's a tremendous power source somewhere on the planet which they both want to find in order to get a big payday. However, they soon realize they weren't the first ones on the planet and learn about an ancient alien civilization. A bigger threat is also revealed near the halfway point of the game relating to the Gunk, but I don't think it was well explained as it could have been. However, it did do enough to paint a bad guy target and give the player and story a pointed conclusion to work towards. Personally, I liked it. The story was intriguing and I think it's enough to urge the player to complete the game. I really like the banter between Ronnie and Bex as they remain in radio contact almost the entire adventure. There's enough dialogue between them to give each a distinct personality and explain enough of their backstory to make them feel like real people. If you're looking for something simple and relatively easy, then the Gunk will probably be a game you'll enjoy. Much of the game revolves around holding down the button to aim your glove, and the other button to suck up the gunk in order to clean the surroundings. Despite this, that alone was a very satisfying concept. I liked it every time when nature bloomed after clearing away all the yuck. Admittedly though, that's not quite enough for a game. The Gunk tries to add to the gameplay in the form of platforming, combat, and puzzles. All three of these aspects are all light on a mechanics and difficulty perspective. The platforming is fun, but it's not really a challenge. There are virtually no hard jumps that a player needs to get through, and actually, if a player fails, they almost always spawn back on the platform they fell from. Combat is a bit too simple, and I think the game would have been better off if they chose to give combat more focus, or to remove it completely. But I suppose it's there to break up the game loop a bit. Some of the later combat encounters were a bit more challenging, but combat mainly just involves sucking up enemies. Upgrades are something the player can craft as well through the collection of the several resources scattered throughout the levels. Most of these upgrades, besides the story-specific ones, are useless or not necessary. The only ones I used regularly were the sprint upgrade, which should be something the player has at the start anyway, and the enemy lure that I only really used in the final fight. Puzzles also play a role in the game, but many of them are, like everything else, a pushover. There were a couple near the end that did require a bit more thinking in order to figure them out, but players searching for this kind of gameplay probably won't be satisfied. However, all this being said, I didn't have an issue with it. I liked that things were straightforward and it allowed me to get into the flow of the game. But I don't really like platformers or puzzle games that much, so this appealed to me a lot more. And that brings us to the value of the game. But first, if you're enjoying the review or found it helpful, then please consider giving it a like, as that helps me out greatly with the YouTube algorithm gods. The Gunk runs at $24.99 USD at normal retail price, and I put just under 4.5 hours for my playthrough. I wasn't really rushing either. I tried to explore every nook and cranny that I could find and purchase all of the upgrades. Still wish I could have got that last one for the achievement though. Anyway, to me, this is far too short a time for the game's price. While the story and gameplay were both okay, I wouldn't say that either was exceptional to merit the full cost. And because it's a linear game, there won't be much replayability for it. If this game seems interesting to you, I would highly suggest picking it up on sale. And those are my thoughts on The Gunk. If you played the game, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't, then let me know if it sounds like something you'd be interested in, or if you have any questions. I hope this video helped you in some small way, and if it did, then please consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, or whatever it is you feel like doing. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.